subscribe. Hey, listen to this shit. Serious business. Let's get it.
For many of you, the war in Ukraine may seem distant and unimportant. But in fact, this war could significantly change the world that we live in this year and affect every single person on the planet, including you personally,
Every
indirectly,
single
or
person.
even directly.
Every
The
single
fact is
person.
that this war involves the largest nations on our planet with nuclear weapons and enormous economic potential. In this short video, I will tell you what the stakes are in the Russian-Ukrainian war, and how it will affect the face of our world. So be sure to drop us a like, don't forget to subscribe, and here we go. So in some ways, the war in Ukraine is the culmination and denouement of a Cold War that has been lasting for decades between the collective West and Russia. Although the battlefield for this battle is now Ukraine, at any moment the war could extend far beyond Ukraine's borders, especially if Putin decides to use tactical nuclear weapons.
Nuclear weapons, you
In
hear
this
that?
war, there are very high stakes. First, the existence of Russia itself is at stake in this war, because if Putin is utterly defeated militarily, Russia could change significantly. This could start a civil war, and Russia could even potentially lose some of its territories. Secondly, and more importantly, the future of democracy and the free world is at stake in this war. It is a war against a world dictatorship. If you look at a map of the world, you may be surprised to find that most of the dictatorships in the world are closely tied to the Kremlin. For example, Kim Jong-un's regime in North Korea clearly receives its logistics from Russia. It is quite possible that Russia helped them build nuclear weapons and missile launchers. Otherwise, it is impossible to explain how a poor, isolated country got such technology. Bashar Assad's regime in Syria is also
Hey, y'all let me know in the comment sections what y'all think about this. Do y'all care or what? Wake up.
under the direct protection of the Kremlin. The regime in Venezuela is also supported by Putin in every possible way. Alexander Lukashenko's regime in Belarus is totally dependent on Putin as well. There are small countries with tough dictatorships that are also very dependent on Moscow. For example, Eritrea, Turkmenistan, Nicaragua, Cuba, and some countries in Central Africa. Also, authoritarian countries like Iran and China cooperate closely with the Kremlin. And even in the European Union, among the democratic countries, Putin has found a friend. Hungarian President Viktor Orban, whose regime is increasingly characterized as authoritarian, he increasingly is playing along with Putin. In general, the conclusion is very clear. All the dictatorships of the world are linked. They all support each other, but the main center of support for the world's dictatorships is Moscow. Huge revenues from oil and gas sales allow Putin to pursue this policy. And if Putin's regime collapses, all these world dictatorships will be left without a patron and will probably disappear. The entire community of dictators in the world will be dealt a crushing blow, and our world will become freer and more democratic. That's why it's so important for the West to defeat Russia in this war. Otherwise, if Russia wins, the world will be plunged into dark and difficult times. But on the other hand, Putin's regime in the moment of its defeat may resort to the use of nuclear weapons, and in this sense, the stakes are even higher. The existence of all mankind may be at stake.
Y'all hear that? The existence of all mankind may be at stake if you push that button right there. Let's get it.
Personally, I don't believe that nuclear weapons will be used, but anything can happen. It can't be completely ruled out. What are your thoughts regarding the stakes?